Welcome to your Active Hearts, Healthy Hearts exercise program. We're going to begin with the warm-up, which is essential for preparing the body and preparing the heart for exercise. So start with the feet slightly apart, soften the knees, pull up through the spine, take the shoulders forward, up, back, gently down. Imagine that you have a piece of string pulling you towards the ceiling. Now breathe in, and as you breathe out, pull your tummy tightly into your backbone, but you're breathing out at the same time. Now release by 50%. And keep this good posture all the way through your exercise program. And off we go. Starting in gear 1, a gentle march, a swing of the arms, and take the shoulders forward, up, back, gently down again. Consider your posture nice and tall. And we're going to start with a heel dig. We're only in gear 1, so we're keeping the exercise quite gentle at this stage. Let's take it back to the march. And when you're marching, think of your posture again. Tummy tight, shoulders relaxed. And the toe tap now. Lengthening the foot and tapping the toe onto the floor in front of you. Well done. And a march. We're now going to do a knee raise. Tighten the tummy muscles and up comes the knee. Just to about 45 degrees. If you feel a bit wobbly, then just tap the toe in front. Your choice. And back to the march. The leg is now going to the side, so gently does it. Each time you come back to center before you extend the leg sideways. And it's the march. Now the leg is going backwards, so a gentle bend of the knee, not too energetic at this stage, and keeping the heel high, tap behind you. It's the march. We're now going to loosen up the spine. So take the feet slightly apart, soften the knees by bending them gently and wiggle the toes. Nice and tall, and slide down to the middle, other way. We're loosening up the spine. Take care not to go too far. Just what's comfortable for you. And back to the march. The spine works in 2 directions, so let's take the feet slightly apart, wiggle the toes, hands across the chest, and look to the right, to the middle. You'll notice it's just my rib cage that's moving. The hips are pointing forward. There's no movement from the waist down. And of course the toes are wiggling like mad. Back to the march. We're now going up to gear 2, which is slightly more energetic movement. If you feel you're working too hard at any time, please follow Caroline, who's going to do the lower intensity marches. And the elbows slightly bent, all the way round. The tummy's tight and the posture's good. And back the other way. And you'll notice that Caroline's doing a shoulder roll if this is uncomfortable for you. Well done. Back to the march. It's now the heel digs. And. So a little lower on the bend, and because we're gear 2, we're going to add some arms. But you'll notice Caroline's doing the lower level and her arms are swaying gently. Back to the march, pull tall. Excellent. Now the toe taps and a bicep curl. Again, Caroline's doing the lower intensity option. And back to the march. Ready with the knee raise. Pull the tummy in tightly for balance and up we come. The knee comes a little higher because we're in gear 2 and we're moving the arms a little more energetically. Excellent. Back to the march. The leg is now going to the side. So nice and gently, toe tap. The knee is bending a little lower. And as we're in gear 2, I'm taking the arms out to the side. Excellent work. Back to the march. A swing of the arms, nice and tall. The leg is now going backwards. Here we go. Heel high, toe tap, a little deeper on the bend, and of course that bicep curl. Are you beginning to feel a little warmer? Excellent work. Back to the march. Back to the spine. So let's take the feet slightly apart, wiggle the toes, pull up through the spine, tummy tight, and down, back to the middle. Take care that you keep the body in the middle and you avoid bending forward. One more each side. And back to the march. Okay, we're now going to do the spinal rotations. Take the feet slightly apart, bend the knees slightly, wiggle those toes, hands across the chest to the right. Side, middle. And just going as far as is comfortable with those hips facing forward. Good work. Now we're bringing the intensity up a little more because we're in gear 3. So check the posture, but the knees are marching well, the arms are swinging, and bend the elbows slightly. And imagine that you're combing your long golden locks. If you have any discomfort in your shoulder, then follow Caroline, who's doing the lower version. And back the other way. Well done. Keep that march going. Keep up the energy. And we're going into the heel dig. Here we go. And now you'll notice that I'm bending quite a good deal more than I did in gear 1. And we're going to add some big arms. Caroline's doing a lower intensity, so her arms are not so high and she's not bending quite so low. Choose who you'd like to follow, whatever's comfortable for you. And march. Now we've got the toe tap. Here we go. So the same principle, we're in gear 3, so nice and low. And make yourself work a little bit harder by bringing in those big arms. And again, Caroline's intensity is considerably lower than this gear 3. And march. It's the knee raise. Tummy nice and tight. Pull up through the spine. Up you come. The knee's coming up to about 90 degrees, which is up to about hip level. And we're making the heart work a little harder by using bigger arm movements. However, if you do feel wobbly, then don't forget, you can toe tap, but keep the arms going at a bigger rate. Well done, take a march, nice big move. The leg is now going to the side and toe tap. The weight's in the middle, the supporting leg is bending quite low, and of course we're in gear 3, so we put in those big arms. Caroline's arms are lower and she's not bending quite so low. Excellent work. March it out. Get that posture check. Now we're taking the leg to the back and heel high and nice deep bend. Make the movement harder by taking the leg a little bit further back, but keep the heel away from the floor. Now the arms come into play. If you're finding that your RPE is getting above light, then please follow Caroline and take the intensity down a little bit. Well done. Back to the march. Good arm swing, nice and tall. Well, I hope you're feeling a little bit warmer. We're now going to prepare the muscles by giving them a stretch. So take the intensity down a little bit. Just walking through the feet. And bring the arms around. Imagine you're hugging that big person who's quite small, so look down at them. You should feel a gentle tension in the top of the back. Well done, release that stretch. Centralise, think of your posture. Now place the right arm onto the right shoulder. Slide it down the back. And with the left hand, just support the arm. If this is painful or uncomfortable, then take the arm across the body and just support it and feel the stretch between the elbow and the shoulder. And release that stretch. Now we have to do this on the other arm. So place a hand on the shoulder, slide down the back as far as is comfortable, and with the other arm, just support the arm. A gentle tension between the elbow and the shoulder. If that's uncomfortable, as I say, you can take it across the body. And release that stretch. Keep the march going. Consider your posture as you put your hands on the small of the back and gently draw the elbows together so you're stretching the chest muscles. Well done. Release that stretch. Now tapping behind, heel high. We're thinking of the lower body as we take the right leg back. Gently ease the heel into the floor. Take the weight forward onto the left leg. Wiggle the toes a little. And a march. Toe tap behind. And we're now taking the left leg back. Gently ease the heel into the floor. Check that both toes are facing forward. Well done. And back to the march. Keeping a good posture, we heel dig to the front. The feet go underneath the hips, the toes are facing forward. Bend the knees slightly as if you're sitting on a bar stool. Take the right leg forward, squeeze the tummy in, the hands are at the top of the thighs for support. Look at the ground before you and bend forward until you've got the tension between the knee and the hip of the straight leg. Slowly back up again. Well done. And we're going to repeat that on the other leg now. It's heel dig. Now take the feet underneath the hips, toes facing forward. Bend the knees, extend the left leg with a relaxed foot. Pull the tummy in nice and tightly with the hands at the top of the thighs and bend forward with the eyes looking at the floor in front of you. And slowly back up. Well done. March out. The next stretch is for the front of thigh, which involves standing on one leg. So Caroline is going to use the wall for support. And if you feel that you're a bit unstable, that's the best way to do it. Taking the weight onto the right leg, focus on something that's not moving. Bring up the foot, hold the shoelaces, or if it's more comfortable, the tracksuit bottom. The knees are in a straight line and feel the tension in the front of the thigh. Well done, march out. Now take the weight onto the left leg. Again, focus on something that's not moving. Bring up the foot, hold the shoelaces or the tracksuit bottom, whatever's most comfortable for you, and feel the tension in the front of the thigh. Back to the march. Well done. Good work. Well, that's our warm-up finished. But before we go into the conditioning phase, we need to bring the heart rate up slightly. So let's have a good old march. Bring up the knees, swing the arms, and stand nice and tall. Well done, everybody. We're now entering the conditioning phase at level 5. You'll notice that the pace doesn't alter at all. However, if you're finding it hard, then follow Caroline. And alternatively, if you're finding it light, then follow my movements. So we're going to start now. Pull up through the spine, shoulders back and relaxed, tummy good and tight. And taking the foot to the side, back to the center each time. Arms at shoulder height. How's it going, Caroline?
Actually, for me, with arms this height, I'm working too hard. So I'm going to take my arms down a bit and not make my legs so extreme in their range of movement. How about you, Leslie?
Well, I'm finding it here quite light. So I'm going to push the movement up a little bit, taking the arms higher and the legs further out. And back to the march.
Our next exercise is the hamstring curl. So we're going to be placing our foot and kicking the heel to the bottom. Nice comfortable range of movement. Feet are flat to the floor and arms will swing forward. to a comfortable range for you, up to shoulder height. But for me, actually, this is too hard, so I'm going to take the arms down. How hard do you feel you're working, Leslie?
Well, it feels quite light, so I'm going to take my arms higher and make a bigger move with the legs. If at any time I become puffy and I feel it's hard, I'll bring my arms back down. And back to the march. We're now going to do a knee raise. Even at this level, if you feel a bit wobbly, you might want to hold onto a wall or chair. But if you feel quite secure, bring up the knee about 90 degrees, no higher. How are you doing, Caroline?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, but I do really feel that I'm working just that bit too hard. So for me, again, I'm just going to take the knees down slightly, and I'm not going to move my arms as vigorously as you are. I'm just aware that my breathing is getting a bit heavy. How are you doing?
I think I could work possibly a little bit harder. So I'm going to take my arms a little higher. I've pulled my tummy nice and tight to keep my balance. My knee is still at 90 degrees, but my arms are higher. And we're back to the march. Right, marching nice and tall, and we're taking the leg to the back. So toe tap, keeping the heel high. Once you've got the legs sorted out, then bring in the arms.
While you're exercising, it's really important that you can maintain a conversation, and that's really what you need to be looking out for when you're doing the exercises. For me, my breathing is starting to get a little laboured and talking a little difficult, so I'm going to take the arms down a bit and not reach so far behind.
If you're feeling that this is light, then take the arms higher and the leg further behind, making the whole movement harder work, more dynamic. If you start to puff though and it becomes hard, then bring the arms back to where you were. And back to the march. When you're marching, check your posture again, check the shoulders relaxed, the tummy's pulled in, and you're placing the foot firmly on the floor. We're now going to do a big dynamic march. Swinging the arms, knees nice and high. Check that posture again. How's the march going?
Yeah, feeling fine at this stage actually. Coping quite well, I think. Aware that I'm working really well. Maybe just going to take my intensity down a notch or two.
While you're doing this, think about your RPE. Think how you're feeling. Feel those sensations. You'll be given opportunity to record this if you've been asked to at the end of this exercise. And take it down to a march. Now's the time, if your cardiac rehab team have asked you, to record the level of RPE or your pulse rate that you were working at.
Excellent. Our next exercise is the half star. So, just as we did before, we're going to start with a tap out to the side, adding in our arms. So, working to a level that feels comfortable for you. So reaching out with the toe, tapping the floor, arms coming to shoulder height. Now for me, talking is getting a little laboured, so I'm going to take the intensity down slightly. Leslie, are you still coping well?
Well, although I'm feeling warm, my breath is quite easy and I'm feeling good. So I'm going to take the arms up higher because that movement was light. Again, if I start to feel that it's getting hard, then I'll come back to the normal size. And we're back to the march. We're back to the hamstring curl now. Feet apart and bring the heel to your bottom. When you've established that your legs are doing the right thing, bring in the arms forward, about shoulder height. Does that feel hard for you, Caroline?
Actually it does. I am feeling quite warm, feeling like if I carried on at this rate, I would be working level hard. So I'm just going to take it down a slight notch so that I feel more comfortable and working appropriately. You seem to be doing really well today though, Leslie.
Yeah, this is light. So again, arms up, making the move bigger, bending the leg a little bit more. It's all much harder work. However, if I start to get puffy, back to the shoulder height. And back to that march.
Our next exercise is the knee raise. So engage those tummy muscles, check your posture's good, pulling up tall. And then it's very simply a knee raise up to hip height, working again to a range that feels comfortable for you. Now with this, to make you work a little bit harder, you can make the arms move a little bit more. Now for me, that is just too much. So I'm going to keep the arms lower. But Leslie, I suspect, will have a different option.
Right, I'm working light, so I'm taking the arms higher. The leg stays, the knee stays the same at 90 degrees, but notice how my arms are working. You do have the option to bring it back down if you start to get puffy. And back to the march. Swinging the arms, posture good. Now we're taking the leg behind. Here we go. Touch together. And again, establish the leg movements. Bring in the arm movements. About shoulder height. Feeling good, Caroline?
I'm trying to keep up with you, but it's just no good. So I'm going to acknowledge my rate of perceived exertion and take the level down a bit. So my arm is slightly lower, but I'm still working appropriately for me. Leslie, you're doing really well. How's it feeling?
Well, again, warm because I'm working, not excessively hot, and my breathing is quite low. So I'm going to take the movement bigger. The leg goes further behind and the arms go higher. If I do get puffy and I think, gosh, this is hard, then bring the arms down again. And back to the march.
So our next exercise is our big march, really energetic. So lifting those knees up to hip height if you can. So marching as energetically as possible, swinging the arms, really getting into this. Pulling up tall. Looking good, Leslie. How are you feeling?
I have to say, this is my favourite one. So I'm swinging the arms and the knees are coming higher. And it feels good. It feels somewhat hard, but not too difficult. Oh, I think we'll take it down now. Finish swinging the arms and take it to a normal march. Gentler on the feet, smaller on the knees, and just a gentle swing of the arms. We're now going into a half star by taking the leg to the side, a little bend of the supporting leg, and it's called a half star because when you take the arms to the side, you look like a star. How's that, Caroline?
As soon as I add in these high arms, I do feel I'm working too hard. So shoulder height is just too much for me at this stage. So I'm going to take my arms lower, which automatically reduces the intensity. How about you?
Well, although I feel I'm working, I feel that it's somewhat light. So I'm taking the arms higher, making the move bigger, the leg goes further out. The whole move is more intense. And we're going back to the march.
Our next exercise is the hamstring curl. So let's just establish our legs. So heel kicking up to your bottom, get a nice natural swing going, and then we'll add in our arms. Excellent. Now I'm chatting to you, could you chat back to me at home? I hope so. For me, this level again is just that little bit too much. So I'm going to be taking my arms down, not lifting my heel to my bottom. Leslie, though, is looking great. How are you feeling, Leslie?
Well, I can still talk, I can still chat to you, Caroline.
Good.
I'm feeling that it's light. Let's take the arms higher. Bring the heel to the bottom and a deeper bend in between. However, if I feel I can't chat, it's beginning to get a bit hard, I'm going to bring my arms down. I am in control. And back to the march. Right, again, pull up through the spine because we're going to stand on one leg. Remembering, if you do feel a bit wobbly, you can always just place the arm onto something stable. So bring up the leg. The arms get a little higher, so increasing the intensity. What level are you working at, Caroline?
Well, it's amazing. As soon as you bring these arms in nice and high, it really does change the intensity level. So be aware of that, adjust it appropriately. So for me, just slightly lower. But you're looking really good, Leslie, and chatting as always.
Yes, you're right. I can take my arms a little bit higher because I'm feeling this is light. So the arms go up. Again, the knee is 90 degrees. Keep the movement control by pulling the tummy muscles in tightly and placing the foot securely on the floor. And we're back to the march.
Our next exercise is the backward lunge. So we're tapping behind with the ball of the foot, keeping the heel nice and high. So working to a comfortable range. Once those legs are established, bring in your arms. Starting off with arms to shoulder height, I soon find that it's taking the intensity up to hard for me. So I need to just bring that down. I can start to feel my breathing getting a bit laboured. So over to Superfit Leslie, how are you doing?
Yes, this feels light. So I'm going to do my impression of Superman, arms to front, legs out behind. Or Supergirl. And we're going back to the march. Check your posture, tummy tight, shoulders back, pulling up through the spine. We're back to my favourite exercise, the big march. Knees high, swing the arms, keep the posture good. Is this your favourite exercise, Caroline?
I'm not sure I'd go quite that far, but thank you for asking. So keep that marching going. I can't keep this pace, I'm afraid. I'm going to have to take my legs down a bit and not swing the arms so vigorously. But you go for it, Leslie.
And while I'm doing it, I'm thinking how I'm feeling. Think how you're feeling. Think what your RPE is. And if you've been asked to record your RPE or your heart rate, there'll be an opportunity after this exercise. And we're taking it down to a gentle march. If you've been asked by your cardiac rehabilitation team to record your pulse rate or RPE, do so at this point.
Our next exercise is our half star. You should know this by now. Here we go. We're tapping out to the side and back in. And with those arms, bringing them up nice and high, working to a comfortable range for you. Still thinking about your RPE. Is it appropriate? For me, I just need to drop the arms down slightly and then that's perfect. How about you, Leslie?
Well, this is light again. So up come the arms, out goes the legs. Funnily enough though, I still feel it's light, but my shoulders are starting to ache. And if this happens, just bring the arms down gently and return to this stage. And back to the march.
And so moving on to our next exercise, it's our hamstring curl. So get those feet ready and lift. So trying to kick your bottom with the heel of the foot. Your support foot obviously placed firmly flat to the floor. Adding in those arms. Get a nice steady rhythm going. My arms are at shoulder height. It's just that little bit too hard for me. So I'm just bringing them down.
So again, this is feeling light. So the same principle, arms to the ceiling and a deeper bend. If at any time this becomes hard, then just return to the original move. And it's back to the march. Pulling up through the spine, shoulders nice and relaxed, tummy pulled in, and the knee raises to hip height. Working the arms at shoulder height. This is quite comfortable. Caroline, what about you? Is it still comfortable for you?
Yeah, this is fine for me. Concentrating on a spot on the wall opposite helps with your balance if you're struggling with that at all. But yeah, it's okay for me because again, I'm just going to make that adjustment and take the intensity down just a little bit for me. So slightly smaller arm, slightly lower knee lift to what you're doing, Leslie. But you're looking really good.
Well, slowly but surely, I'm feeling that although this is light, I can work a little bit harder. So I'm taking my arms higher, knee stays the same height, but I'm doing a little bend with a supporting leg to bring the intensity up. If I start to feel it's hard, then I have the option of bringing the arms down again. And we're back to the march.
So our next exercise is the backward lunge. Here we go, step and tap. So hitting the floor with the ball of the foot, heel nice and high, adding in those arms when you're ready. Working up to shoulder height. Now for me, breathing starting to get a little laboured, so I'm going to lower the arms. How are you doing, Leslie?
Well, again, this is light. So back to the Superman, leg behind, arms high. Although I'm warm, I don't feel it's hard, so I'm going to continue with this movement. And it's back to the march. My favourite exercise, so swing the arms, bring the knees up. Good work. How's that going, Caroline?
Well, I am trying to match you, Leslie, but I just can't do it. But I am glad to hear it's the last exercise. So I'm going to take the pace down a little bit, and that feels more comfortable for me. How are you doing, though?
Thanks, Caroline. I'm feeling great. My body feels good. I'm breathing easily. And I could go on for another 10 minutes. But I feel that now is the end of the conditioning component. So I'm going to start to slow down to the march. Well done, everybody. You've done exceedingly well, and your body will thank you for it. We're now going on to the cool down section. Well done. You finish your conditioning component now. We're entering the cool down. The cool down is necessary to bring the heart rate and the body back to the pre-exercise level. If you feel you're getting tired or feeling you're working too hard, then follow Caroline, who will be doing the lower level of intensity. Right, here we go. Heel digs with big arms. Caroline, how are you feeling on this?
Yep, I'm fine, but as I'm trying to bring my heart rate down now, I'm doing a bicep curl.
And back to the march. Now we're going into a toe tap, and again bending the supporting leg and the heart rate's up, so big arms. Caroline, whereabouts are your arms while I'm doing this?
I'm doing my bicep curl, so the hand just quite naturally swings up to the shoulder, and I'm not bending quite as deep as you, I should think, so feels very comfortable for me.
And we're going back to the march. It's now the knee raise. If you're a bit wobbly, then follow Caroline, who's doing a toe touch. Brace your tummy muscles and raise the knee. Remember, we're in gear 3, so keep that energy up. And back to the march. At this level, I'm still marching vigorously. Caroline, are you at this vigorous level?
Not quite as vigorous as you.
Now the legs going to the side, a deep bend, and the arms are coming up to shoulder height. And back to the march. Now the legs going backwards, keeping the heel high, tapping the floor with the toe behind you, and the arms are high. If you're finding this difficult, you may want to follow Caroline, who's doing a lower level of intensity. And it's back to the march. We're now going down to gear 2, so take the oomph out of the march. The movements aren't so intense, so starting with a heel dig, not such a big bend of the knee, and a bicep curl, taking out the intensity of the movement. And a march. It's now the toe tap and a bicep curl. And you'll notice that Caroline is just doing the leg movements. And a march. We're now going to do the knee raise. However, please, if you feel unstable, follow Caroline, who's doing the toe tap. Here we go. The knee is not quite as high, and the movement with the arms isn't so aggressive. And back to the march. The legs now going to the side, so a little bend. And the arms are lower. Back to the march. The leg is now going to the back, so a small bend of the knee, toe behind, and I have a bicep curl. Caroline, whereabouts are your arms for this one?
This whole section, I'm not doing my arms. I'm just concentrating on keeping my legs going.
Brilliant. Back to the march. Now we're in gear 1, so a gentle heel dig. Good posture, shoulders down and relax. And back to the march. It's now the toe tap. Again, you'll notice that the arms aren't moving at all. All the work is done by gentle movements of the legs. And march. We're now doing a knee raise, but 45 degrees rather than 90 degrees. Tummy pulled in tightly, hands relaxed. And it's a march. Right, the leg is now going to the side. A little bend of the supporting leg, gently does it. And it's back to the march. And now we're going to take the leg back, a toe tap, the heel away from the floor. So gentle bend of the leg, toe tap, short distance behind, and the arms aren't moving. And a march on the spot. So just walking through the feet, we're now going into our stretches. So take the intensity down a little bit and bring the arms around. Imagine you're hugging that big person who's quite small, so look down at them. Feel that gentle tension in the top of the back. Okay, release that. Pull up through the spine. Now take the feet slightly apart. Because our heart rate has come down now, we can stop the legs moving. Place the right hand on the right shoulder. Slide it down the back with the left hand, just support the arm. If you feel this is uncomfy, then take the arm across the body. And you should feel a gentle tension in the underarm. And release. So place the left hand on the shoulder, slide it down the back as far as is comfortable for you, and with the right hand just to support it. You should feel a gentle tension on the underarm, but again, if your shoulder is uncomfortable or your neck uncomfortable, take it across the chest. and release that stretch. We're now going to stretch the chest muscles, a really important stretch to give you good posture and to make you look younger. Hands on the small of the back, pull the elbows together. Caroline is doing a slightly different one if you feel that this is too tight across your chest, with her hands on her temple and pulling the elbows back. And gently release that stretch. We're now going to think about the lower body. Feet as if they're on train tracks. Take the right leg back and gently ease the heel into the floor. When you're in that position, take the weight forward onto the left leg and you should feel a gentle tension in the calf muscle, and just a gentle tension. That's a lovely stretch after all that hard work you've done. Right, place the feet together again. Okay, now we're going to do the other leg. Take the left leg backwards, ease the heel into the floor to take weight forward onto the right leg and feel a gentle tension in the calf muscle. Just check that back foot's forward. And slowly back up. With the feet hip distance apart, bend the knees and take the right leg forward. Pull the tummy in tightly to support the back with the hands on the top of the thighs. Just bow forward with the eyes looking down at the floor, not at me. And you should feel the tension between the knee and the hip of the straight leg. Slowly back up again. And now we need to do that on the other leg. So feet hip distance apart, bend the knees. Now take the left leg forward, squeeze your tummy in before you bow with the eyes looking down at the floor, bend forward. Feel that tension between the knee and the hip and slowly back up again. The last stretch is for the front of thigh, and again, if you feel that you need some help with your balance, then Caroline will show you how to hold onto a chair to make you more stable. The weight goes on to the right leg, the left leg comes up, hold the top of the foot or the tracksuit bottom if that's more comfortable, and feel the stretch in the front of the thigh. Gently release that stretch, and now we do the other leg. So again, get stable, take the weight onto the left leg, bring the right leg up, hold the tracksuit bottom or the shoelaces, and feel that stretch in the front of the thigh, and gently release. Well done everybody, good work.
Excellent work, Leslie.